Welcome back to 101 East, where we're discussing the situation in Aceh, still recovering after 30 years of bloody civil war. Many Achenese families suffered great loss and trauma at the hands of the Indonesian military. Here's one mother's story in her own words.
The
last thing I remember about Anwar is one afternoon he was coming back to see me. The next morning, I found out that he had been shot in the neighboring village. I can't tell you how I felt when I heard my son had died. I feel like I might collapse when I talk about it. I never agreed to let him join GAM. 3 of my other sons already joined GAM. I didn't want him to join as well, but he wanted to so much, and there was nothing I could do to stop him. I was very afraid during the conflict. I couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't leave the house and had to live off whatever supplies we had. The TNI would come to my house, looking for my sons, but they were in the mountains. The soldiers came and beat my other sons who were at home at the time. Even my youngest son, who was 6 at the time, was beaten too. Now there are still soldiers in full uniform here. Even though things are different now, I'm still very afraid. Each time I see a soldier, I get very frightened. Nobody has given us any money or compensation. According to the government, they should be giving us 3 million rupiah a year. The only money I have been given is 100,000 rupiah, and that was given by GAM. We live just like this, without any money. What you see here is all we have.
Well, still with me in the studio are Mr. Hendra Budian. He's Programme Director of the Aceh Judicial Monitoring Institute, an NGO, and Professor Satya Arinanto, an advisor to the Indonesian government's Department of Law and Human Rights. Moving story there that we just heard from an Achenese mother, and you got a very acute sense there that there is still fear in Aceh, and it's made more acute by hardship, and on a larger scale there is a threat that this could tear the actual social fabric of Achenese society. Let me start with you again, Hendra, and try and get more onto this idea of the extent to which peace has been restored in Aceh. That mother has not received any compensation yet, even though it's mandated by law. But how many victims have indeed received compensation so far?
I think the people like dad's mother are majority now in Aceh. Yeah, majority, because many people are still didn't get the compensation or the reparation from the conflict affected. It's just because of there is no clear policy on that. The government of Aceh making a policy 3 million rupiah years for the victims. But what kind of money is that? Is that a compensation or is that just a charity? That's not clear. If there is compensation, it should be a process. Why those people got compensation? Why these people not get?
Professor Arinanto, you're based in Jakarta, which we should remind viewers is really culturally and in terms of actual physical distance a long way from Aceh. Indonesia is a huge archipelago. What are people worried about in Jakarta when they think about the situation in Aceh? Do they understand that there's a real sense of discontent, disaffection in Aceh, and that there's a larger risk that people there are losing faith in the government, central and provisional?
I know. I said I wrote research on that, but I'm not the government. I just an expert. I just a professor at the Faculty of Law.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah, I don't implement the policy.
No, I understand that.
I know, I just tell you first. And then secondly, I agree with this point about the compensation. But now I think that's also part of the responsibility of the regional government. Not all the things in the country must be settled by the central government.
This is the problem. When we spread this is the responsibility of the central government, and this is the responsibility of the regional government. I would like to see this is the whole Indonesian government. This is Indonesian Indonesian government responsibility.
Yes, I
Irwandi Yusuf, the Acehese government, is a part of Indonesian government. I don't want to make this
distinction.
Distinction.
Has anyone talked about, to increase political will, to concentrate minds? Actually, number one, thinking about an actual timeline, like a TRC must be set up by a certain date. And number two, the possibility of setting up an Aceh TRC ahead of a national TRC, which I know is something that people are debating endlessly in Jakarta.
Okay, now, as you know, as far as the government has initiated, as I said, and they visited 4 provinces with the former conflicts experience. So they get, including Aceh is the first.
Make Aceh TRC to stimulate the establishment of the TRC at national level. So in Papua case, in Kalimantan case, in many cases in Indonesia.
Why didn't he lobby to the DPR?
We made it a lobby. We proposing our draft on that. But the problem is that the political process. The problem is the political wills of the government. Because, like as you said, that the actors of the conflict still dominant on ruling the government. That is the problem.
We don't have very much time left, but before we go, I do want to address one more issue, which is this idea that there may be a limited window of opportunity to get this going. Next year, presidential elections are due.
And general elections.
Is there a worry that the TRC concept may just fall by the wayside and things just really disintegrate in Aceh once again, even after the tsunami, the tens of thousands of deaths, the years of civil war, Aceh once again becomes ignored? How worried are you about that, Professor?
Yes, I'm worried also, and not only about Aceh, because actually many other drafts also waiting the political process. Now I saw the DPR and the government, especially focusing on the draft on political election for next years. They have to finish around 3 more laws, and then other laws also, including this TRC laws. So they have a lot of draft. I saw. I wonder also from the viewpoint of an expert who saw the need of the fast legislation process, including the Aceh law, because so many agenda. Actually, the DPR and government already prepared that they promised to finish around 284 laws during these 5 years. Not more than the half.
Henry, if you can give us our concluding statement, how worried are you that the TRC is not being acted on quickly? How urgent is it that things start to move in Aceh?
We see the TRC, or the Human Rights Court, is an answer to cut a cycle of violence in Indonesia. It should be an instrument to stop the violence. We, Acehese, also dreaming to live like people here, like in Putrajaya, with no more conflict, no more defense, no more anger. This should be solved. It should be stopped. So this is an instrument. Why the government didn't see this?
All right, but that's all we have time for on 101 East. My thanks to my guests, Mr. Hendra Budian and Professor Satya Arinanto. For now, from all of us here at 101 East, it's goodbye.